Welcome back to Grammar Grade 10. This is Unit 2, Lesson 17, and today we're going to finish sentences, literally. Some verbs leave a hole behind them, a gap that another word has to fill. The words that fill those gaps are called complements. Today we'll meet the two you'll see most often, the direct object and the indirect object. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to spot both of them quickly. And, just as importantly, you'll know the one trap that fools almost everybody. Let's get started. Let's start with the word complement itself. A complement is a word or a group of words that completes the meaning of a verb. Watch it happen. The chef chopped the onions. The chef is the one doing something, and chopped is the action. But stop the sentence right there. The chef chopped. And you can feel a hole in it. Chopped what? The words the onions fill that hole. They finish the verb's meaning, and that is exactly why we call them a complement. The complement reaches back to the verb and finishes the job the verb started. So tuck this simple idea in your pocket. A complement completes the meaning of the verb. Today, we'll meet the two most common kinds. The first kind of complement is the direct object, and it is the one you will meet most often. A direct object answers the question, what or whom, after an action verb. Here is the first sentence. Maya baked a cake. Find the action verb, baked. Now ask the question, baked what? A cake. That answer, a cake, is the direct object. It is the thing that receives the action of the verb. Now the other question. The coach praised Diego. The action verb is praised. Ask, praised whom? Diego. So Diego is the direct object here. And notice two things. A direct object is always a noun or a pronoun, and it always comes after the action verb, never before it. Remember transitive verbs from our verb lesson? A verb that carries a direct object is exactly what transitive means. So how do you actually find a direct object? Run 3 quick steps. Step 1, find the action verb. Step 2, say that verb, and then ask what or whom. Step 3, whatever answers the question is your direct object. Let's run it. The wind rattled the shutters. The action verb is rattled. Now ask, rattled what? The shutters. There it is. The shutters is the direct object. But here comes an important twist. Not every action verb has one. Think about the sentence, the wind howled. Howled what? Howled whom? There is no answer at all. Nothing receives that action. When the question has no answer, the verb simply has no direct object, and the sentence is complete without one. Now for the second complement, the indirect object. An indirect object answers a different set of questions. To whom? For whom? To what or for what? After an action verb. Watch what happens when we add one to our old sentence. Maya baked her brother a cake. The verb is still baked. Ask our old question first. Baked what? A cake. That answer is the direct object, exactly as before. But look what has slipped in ahead of it. The words her brother. Now ask the new question. Maya baked that cake for whom? For her brother. And that makes her brother the indirect object. Notice exactly where it lives. It does not sit at the end of the sentence. It slides in between the verb and the direct object. Verb, then indirect object, then direct object. That order is your best clue. Here is a rule that will save you a lot of trouble. An indirect object can never appear on its own. It only exists when a direct object is already there. Look at this one. The librarian handed Priya the atlas. Handed what? The atlas. That is the direct object. Handed it to whom? To Priya. That is the indirect object. Both are present, so the sentence works. Now compare it with this. The librarian smiled. Smiled what? Nothing at all. There is no direct object here. And because there is no direct object, there cannot be an indirect object either. So before you go hunting for an indirect object, always find the direct object first. No direct object, no indirect object. Now the trap. And this one catches almost everybody, so slow down with me. Compare these two sentences very carefully. First, Maya baked her brother a cake. We already know this one. Her brother comes between the verb and the direct object, so it is a true indirect object. Now the second. Maya baked a cake for her brother. The meaning is exactly the same, but the grammar is not. Here, the word for is a preposition, and her brother is simply the object of that preposition. It is writing inside a prepositional phrase, for her brother. And here is the iron rule. A word inside a prepositional phrase is never an indirect object. Never. So the second sentence has a direct object, a cake, but no indirect object at all. Same idea, different structure. Watch for the little words to and for. When you see one, the noun behind it belongs to the phrase, not to the verb. Let's fold the whole lesson into a check you can run in seconds. Step 1, find the action verb. Step 2, say the verb and ask what or whom. The answer to that is your direct object. Step 3, only if there is a direct object, ask the verb plus to whom or for whom. If a word sitting between the verb and the direct object answers that, you have found an indirect object. And then the guardrail. Check whether that word is tucked inside a prepositional phrase. If a preposition, like to or for, stands in front of it, it belongs to the phrase, and it is not an object of the verb at all. Run those steps and complements stop being confusing. Shall we practice? Time to practice. In this first set, I'll give you a sentence, and your job is to find the direct object. Remember the method. Find the action verb, then ask what or whom. Pause the video and answer before I reveal each one. Here is the sentence. The mechanic replaced the battery. Find the action verb first. Replaced. Now ask the question. Replaced what? The battery. That answer receives the action of the verb, so the direct object is the battery. Next, our neighbor grows tomatoes on the balcony. The action verb is grows. Grows what? Tomatoes. Now, be careful with balcony. It sits inside the prepositional phrase, on the balcony, so it cannot be an object of the verb. The direct object is tomatoes. Last one in this set. The old engine sputtered loudly. Ask the question, sputtered what? Sputtered whom? Nothing answers it. Loudly is an adverb. It tells how, and it never receives the action. So this sentence has no direct object at all. In this second set, hunt for the indirect object. Find the direct object first, then ask to whom or for whom. And keep the trap in mind. A word inside a prepositional phrase can never be an indirect object. Pause and choose before I answer. Mr. Okoro lent Anna his umbrella. Start with the direct object. Lent what? His umbrella. Good. A direct object exists, so we are allowed to look for an indirect object. Lent it to whom? To Anna. And Anna is sitting right between the verb and the direct object, exactly where an indirect object belongs. So the indirect object is Anna. Now, almost the same sentence. Mr. Okoro lent his umbrella to Anna. The direct object is still his umbrella, but look at Anna. She follows the preposition to, which means she is tucked inside the prepositional phrase to Anna. And a word inside a prepositional phrase is never an indirect object. So this sentence has no indirect object. The judges awarded our school the trophy. Find the direct object first. Awarded what? The trophy. Now the second question. Awarded it to whom? To our school. And our school sits between the verb and the direct object, right in the indirect object's seat. So the answer is our school. Let's gather it all up. A complement is a word or a group of words that completes the meaning of the verb. And the direct object is the complement you will see most often. It answers what or whom after an action verb. Maya baked a cake. The indirect object answers to whom or for whom, and it always slides in between the verb and the direct object. Maya baked her brother a cake. Then hold on to the two guardrails. First, a sentence can only have an indirect object if it also has a direct object. Second, a word inside a prepositional phrase, like for her brother, is never an indirect object, no matter how much it sounds like one. In our next lesson, we'll meet the other complements, object complements and subject complements. I'll see you there.